Good morning. Today is Sunday, April 14th, 2023. Happy Mother's Day. And this is the weekly Bitcoin forecast for the next week going into the 21st. So let's take a look at what happened. So again, within this last week, we've been coming down for the last year. And then in January, February, March, April, we've seen like these upward moving candles. And at this point, May has been very much so a downward month. We see this white candle coming down here. But I think overall it's going to be bullish, right? I said last week that you could potentially have a price drop down to about 25,000 before turning around. And we got to, 26,100. Again, that 25,000 lines up pretty well with the 50 moving average on the monthly chart, as well as if you look down on the daily chart. You did have some type of structure there that would prevent it from going any further. So looking at the weekly chart, a lot of the same story. As you can see, overall, we are moving in an upward direction. Again, we've come down for all this time, and then we finally started breaking structure here, broke structure here. We have pretty much, again, we're still fighting here, this 30K range. Like what's happening right now, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, right? We came up to this key level, and now we're slowly pulling back, grabbing liquidity, moving further and further into bull territory. And then again, lining up with what I said about 25,000. So if you look at the 200 and the 50 moving averages on the weekly chart, they're sitting right at about 25,000. So somewhere it could turn around in is somewhere between like 25 and 24,000, I'm thinking. So again, the downside is limited here, in my opinion, but the upside is going to be a lot more. I think this is the little push down that we needed to push back through 30,000. So we'll see how that plays out within the next week or so. Okay, moving on to the daily chart. We have been overall kind of in a range since March, actually. We've really, you have this big kind of zone right here that we've just kind of been ranging in. So bouncing up and down for the past couple months right now. Yeah, so this has been about 2 months of just kind of ranging between 26,000 and 31,000. We got to a high of. So again, now we're at kind of like the bottom of this channel again. And like I said, there's so much support coming down from the bottom of it. I keep talking about 25,000. So we're somewhere in here, right? Keep talking about 25,000. So that puts us right between 25,200 and 24,200. So about a $1,000 range there that we're looking at. So I think we could potentially come down here and then bounce off and go in that direction. Again, we still have a lot of protection here, even on the daily chart. So we saw protection on the monthly chart, the weekly chart, the daily chart. So you have these 200 moving averages here. I'm sorry, yeah, your 200 moving average, your 100 moving average. And if you look at the Fibonacci, that's here too. So that 50% line and that 61.8 line right here, again, more areas where price could turn around. So right now what you're seeing is a whole bunch of confluences, a lot of different things that are adding up together that make me believe that price is going to do a certain thing, right? So let's take a look here even further. We'll dial in all the way down to the 1 hour chart. So we've kind of talked about all that support and whatnot that we have right there. So again, as you can see on the 1 hour chart, I've been selling all week pretty much. So started all the way from, Friday the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And we have just come down. We had a little bump up here this is a CPI candle. So the new inflation numbers came out right here. And I thought we were going to continue up. This was a huge pump fake. So we just came down and absolutely obliterated everything that we had done here. And came back to the level that we were at, came back to that average. And then we just continued on downwards for the rest of the week into Friday and made a little pop up at the end of Friday. And then we just it's the weekend at this point. Looking at Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this is typical behavior, just kind of not doing anything for X amount of time. So looking at where we could go for the next week. I don't too much see us ranging anymore. We've been ranging for quite some time here, and I think this is a pretty good drop. So it's going to be a couple type of moves. So it's going to be, you're going to have a downward move probably to about 25,000 there again, and then you're going to do potentially a little ranging around here as like they go back and forth. This is kind of like a last resort type thing, like kind of final battleground down here. And then you could go back up. It's not going to be immediate again, but it is going to, take some time and get up to 29,000 until you finally get to 30,000 again. So we can look right here. Take that. Somewhere around 30,000, you'll see some type of rejection, I would think. It's going to be another battle, but I think it'll be, I think this might be the time that we actually end up breaking through that $30,000 level and then continuing on probably to like 33 or 37. All right, let's take a look here. So that's one scenario. Another scenario that we have is we could have a shallow bounce off of like this line right here, continue here. We'll probably face some type of, resistance here with these moving averages, and then we'll continue here. We'll probably see a little bit more here, and then break that final structure to get back up to 30K. So that's like a more realistic path than, just a straight arrow up. There's going to be a couple levels where it stops and pulls back and does like this, that, and the third. So this would be, I would consider probably the worst case scenario, which I just find to be so unlikely that it's not even really worth considering, but we'll consider it anyway, right? So the worst case scenario is we come back down to about like 19, 20,000. Again, I just find this to be so incredibly unlikely, but we'll talk about it. So we come back down to 19,000, 20,000 or whatever. We could bring price down here. Actually, it would just be so hard. I just see that being totally unrealistic. You would have to break the 0.382 fib, the 0.5 fib, the 0.618 fib, the 200, the daily 200 moving average, the daily 100 moving average. Let's look at the weekly, what you would have to do to get down there. You would have to break the weekly 200 moving average. I don't even think we did that during COVID, honestly. Let's take a look back, go back in history a little bit. Yeah, so even with COVID, like right here, COVID happened March of 2020. So this is the 200 weekly moving average. So like this major global event, we only barely broke the 200 moving average, and then we just continued to ascend into heaven for like the next year or two, which is what I believe is about to happen here too. But let's take a look at where we're at, right? So the weekly 200 moving average is at 25,000. So yeah, we're not going to violate that. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that being probable. So I don't even have to draw that mark up. So yeah, these are the two scenarios that I see happening. I think we're finally at a point where we can go back and retest 30,000 and could see some success, could see another continued ranging for a month or two, but you never know. Time will absolutely tell. So I think that's about it for today. Again, happy Mother's Day. I hope y'all have a great Sunday. Take care.